Jay, here we are down at the Brewery Field, and what an exciting time for the club. We've got the last day drama that we seem to involve ourselves in every year, but on the horizon as well, a trip to Wembley. I mean, it's just incredible times at the moment for Spennymoor Town, isn't it?
It's what dreams are made of, you know. If you'd have been affiliated with Spennymoor, I think I was an 18-year-old lad when I came here. I signed a contract with Trevor Beaumont, who's brilliantly still one of the presidents of the football club. I got afforded a ride in gear, I think, at 18-year-old, so that's like 30-odd years ago. And I've been away, done various different things, but this club's always been part of me. I've been here involved with this football club for 30 years, and to just see it progress the way it has, and you know, them feelings at Rochdale. I remember it's obviously a different feel when you're the manager at Guernsey and they're winning here, but with people that have been here a long time, people who have been here for a short time, it doesn't matter. The feeling was exactly the same for everybody who was there that day, and it was the feeling of such elation. Driving home in the car, I know I heard Brad's podcast a couple of weeks ago, but it was just music blaring out, you know, just a feel-good factor again, and to get the club to Wembley and what Spike's achieved in just over 14 months is extraordinary. Where we are now as a football club, the crowds that we're getting, it's just an absolute pleasure to be around, you know. And it's not just Spennymoor itself, you know. I live in Stockton and people talk about Spennymoor in Stockton, people talk about Spennymoor at South Shields where I work, so it is putting the club back on the map. We're a very, very organised, well-established football club at this level, you know what I mean. And who would have thought that many years ago when I first came here as manager with Jamie Pollock in 2008 and 9. The place was derelict, and I've mentioned that on many occasions. To see what it is today, it's second to none, and you know, we're very lucky to be in a situation where we are. There'll be thousands of football clubs across the country who'd be absolutely so frustrated that we're in a position of one of two that are in the biggest competition in non-league football.
Yeah, I mean, this achievement of getting all the way to the FA Trophy final from National League North is nothing short of astonishing, is it, for Spike and the players?
No, I think I remember that. Was it Alfred we played, and it was nil? Was it 0-0 that game? Because I know we played them 3 times in a space of a couple of weeks. And Matty Dolan scored an unbelievable free kick right at the last kick of the game, you know. And then we played South Shields, and we had Tom Allen on loan who scored a goal on that day, you know. Now who's at South Shields. You look at the semi-final, we had Rutledge on loan from Gateshead, we had Ollie Dyson on loan, but we had Finn who scored the goal from Scunny, and then we had Rowan in goal who saved the penalty. So sometimes when you know your name's on the in the final, we beat Boston on penalties, 2-0 down, 2 back. So sometimes you have that sort of inkling, and we've talked about it as a board, we've talked about with Spike and that, and the game against Rochdale was just something else, wasn't it? You know what I mean? We didn't have as many chances as we thought we were going to get in the second half, and then to the icing on the cake, the ball in the box, and Big Aidan gets up there with a header and delirious scenes. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a massive occasion. You know what I mean? We're always going to be the underdogs as being a National League North club, but we've took some big scalps. We've took Boston, we've took Sutton, we've took Rochdale, all clubs higher than us. So we've got nothing to fear when we go there.
How much memory does it bring back for you for the big day at Wembley 12 years ago in the FA Vars? There's photos here still proudly in the executive areas here because it was such a monumental day for the club. Does it give you the same sort of butterflies, the same exhilaration? Can you feel it now?
Yeah, I think there was extra pressure there, not only as a manager, but when you're at that level as a Vars and the team that we had, and the monopoly that the FA Vars had in the North East area with, like I said, Whitley Bay, I think North Shields got there and won. So, you know, there was a lot of teams that were winning, and Spennymoor were at that level where, you know, we were a very, very competitive team. We were winning quite a lot of trophies, quite a lot of league titles. We hadn't got the promotion because of the ground wasn't up to the standard that the chairman required. So we were sort of a big fish in that pool. So the expectations were a bit more when we'd won. I always remember when we won, it was like a job of satisfaction that we'd actually got over the line. You know, now with the expectations different. I know when we get there now we want to win the football game, of course we do. You know, but there's different expectations here, and you're competing against the best of the best in non-league football. So we'll go out and enjoy the day. But I know Spike is very, very meticulous in his preparation, and he'll leave no stone unturned with likes of Clark and Dan. And we've got a real good bunch of players, you know, a real talented bunch who work very hard for one another, a real together group, and I've got no illusions under the big stage that they'll perform.
I mean, the Wembley final, it's just going to be the cherry on the cake, isn't it, of a fantastic campaign overall. We're standing here, looking ahead to the weekend. We still got a chance of wrestling ourselves into the top 7, and with a Wembley final to look forward to. The season overall has been another really encouraging one, hasn't it?
Without a doubt. I mean, with any season, Mark, you always have highs and lows. Doesn't matter what level you're at. It's been the same for us this year. We've had games or periods in the season where we haven't performed, but overall, you look, we're again the highest ranked team in the North East at our level, in this level, in this league, and we're in the FA Trophy final. I think we got the highest FA Cup. We got the furthest in the FA Cup, and we're in the last day of the season again. And there's not many times I think we've done that in the history of when we've been in the National League North that they haven't had something to play for in the last game of the season. Again, so it's mathematically possible. It's a difficult ask, but who would have thought the last game of the season a few months ago that we've got an opportunity, and stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned there about the change in landscape in terms of this football club from back in 2008-9 and how vastly different it is now in terms of what it's providing on the pitch, but also the operation off the pitch. So therefore, how much frustration do you feel that when, perhaps the local authorities here aren't really giving the club the support that perhaps we feel we deserve?
Well, there's one person I feel sorry for, and it's the guy I brought in. 16 years ago I brought Brad in. His wife will say it's the worst signing that I've ever made, and that's why she probably frowns at me every time I see her. But I feel for him, he's put millions of pounds into this football club, not just on the football side, but the infrastructure, the moves in the community, the ladies, the academy. Everything to do with Spennymoor Town is down to one man, and I know he has people driving that, and he puts people in the right positions. But ultimately, if it wasn't for Brad, this club wouldn't be here. And to say that it's disappointing is an understatement, because it's not for him. You know what I mean? The money that we were asking from the local authority was for supporters to get down to Wembley. We're not 30 minutes away like Aldershot. We're not an hour away. We're 4.5, 5 hours away on a Sunday. It's not a bank holiday Monday the following day. It's a Sunday game. Yes, it's an exciting time, but people don't have the expenditure that they have now, so it's not a case of they're just helping Spennymoor Town Football Club, and it's about the people of Spennymoor getting down to Wembley Stadium. This football club is one of the biggest organisers in County Durham. I think, I was talking to Brad this morning. I think we employ something nearly 400 kids in various programmes, the ladies, the men's team. Forget the volunteers, you've got paid members of the staff, but also it's the biggest organisation in County Durham. Recently Amazon have come on board, but I would imagine as a football club, as a community club, it's the biggest in County Durham, and definitely in Spennymoor Town. So I just need, you just find a flabbergasting that he's putting all this effort in, he's putting all his money in. It's not pie in the sky dreams. He's put a significant amount of money into this football club since he joined here, and he always said that he would walk before he could run. He did that, and at times, and I'm very, very surprised that he's still at the football club. You know what I mean? Because if he's not getting back from the local authority, he's not getting back from the people. It's not his club. It's the people of Spennymoor Town. It's the people who live around the area. It's their football club, and he's the one who's given it the infrastructure. He's the one who's put it all together. I speak to people in the boardrooms. I travel home and away every week, down south, everywhere. Me and Joanne go every game in the Direct box, and the amount of people that say how well this club is ran is phenomenal, and they get support from their local authorities, they get support from their councils. We don't get anything here. It's all down to one man, and I'd be very, very surprised if this continues that he'll still be here.
It obviously, you know him better than most as well in terms of that, and when he was doing the interview with me last week, he spelled it out fairly clearly, that they need that backing, because over the 16 years he's been here, he's very rarely let anyone down in terms of achieving the ambitions that he set out to achieve.
No, I always said that. I mean, I think I did nearly 900 games here as a manager, and there'll be players that have left here saying, well, I didn't pick him for whatever reason, I didn't agree with what Jason was doing in management or whatever. What they can never ever say is that whatever got promised wasn't delivered to them, from the club. we're a club that just goes unnoticed. There's no dramas. You know, we go through the season and you don't hear anything. You know, we're a very, very well-rounded football club. You know, and like I say, the people who come up here, I see it differently now. Yeah, I'm downstairs. I used to be downstairs in the thick of it, you know, and I know what Spike goes through on a day-to-day game basis. It's a bit easier for me upstairs, although it isn't, because Brad still, the buck always falls down with Spike or me myself, you know what I mean? So it's, the football results are important, don't get me wrong, but when you're up here and you're talking to different people, and it sort of, it gives you a bit of pride because of what the club's actually, where it is now to where it was. I mean, I remember the playoff, when we got to the playoff final, I remember playing Bradford Park Avenue up here, and the ball wouldn't even roll. It was just bobbling all over the place, you know. And it was a quarter final of the playoffs. It's just phenomenal what he has actually achieved at this club. And I'd be absolutely heartbroken if he ever left this football club, not only just personally, because he's a big friend of mine. I've been with him for 25, 30 years, 16 years at this football club, but also what it would leave here. And I don't think the future would be bright if he wasn't here.
Talking about the future then, what kind of future do you foresee with the right backing?
Well, I think we're always a top 10 club. I mean, the aims at every season, and he sits all the management down, he sits the players down. He wants good runs in the FA Cup, he wants good runs in the FA Trophy, and he wants us in the playoffs. And that doesn't change, you know what I mean? I think the future is now, nobody likes coming here. And I don't mean as a hospitality club, because it is. Yeah. I mean, the teams that come here, nobody likes coming to Spennymoor because they know we're a hard-working, honest bunch of lads who play for the shirt, who've got a good fan base, good backing, and nobody likes coming here. So I think we need to maintain that. We need to be in and around it a little bit more, you know, because we always seem to come up the rails February, March, you know, and that's been quite a knock-on effect over the years, where we get stronger after Christmas. So we need to be sort of in and around there on a regular basis in terms of the top 7. But I believe in the right people are in the right places. I think Spike, Clark, Ian, Dan, they're doing a fantastic job. And I think they're the right people to take the club forward.